We are live with Lunch Break Live. Chef Kathy, take it away.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Kathy Davis, and I'm going to cook up for you an easy, whole food, plant-based pasta fazool. So what we have in the saucepan right now is a half a cup of diced carrots and 2 tablespoons of veggie broth. And the carrots are actually sweating in the veggie broth over a medium-low heat just to soften them before we add the other ingredients that will make this soup even more flavorful. So I'm excited to bring this to you.
Awesome. All right. Again, welcome everybody to Lunch Break Live. We are with an author, a cookbook author. She's made 3 well-written and successfully sold books. You're going to want to get one of these. We are live, and you will not believe where we are coming live from. I just am so excited for you to share your journey as well. Okay, what's next on the cooking end? Take it away.
So next, as these carrots start to soften, we're going to go ahead and we are going to add in a half a cup of diced celery. We're going to add in about a medium yellow onion that I've diced. It's between half a cup and a cup. And then I'm also going to add in a couple more tablespoons of vegetable broth. So I am whole food plant-based, so I do not use oil. So I let my veggies kind of sweat up in a little bit of vegetable broth so that they get nice and softened. And we're going to let this kind of simmer for sweat, I suppose, for about 3 minutes covered over a medium-low heat.
Okay, now you mentioned veggie broth. Do you make your own, or do you have a favorite that you use?
So I actually love to use the low sodium Better Than Bouillon veggie broth. So I just go ahead and make up a half a cup for this recipe, and then you'll see me using the tablespoons to add it to the pan. I love it. It's so easy, and it really stores well, which is really good cooking in the RV, which is where we are. And I know, Paige, you wanted to get to that story as well. So maybe while these cook up, we can talk a little bit about where I'm cooking from and saying hello to all these wonderful people in the chat. Yes, Betty Ann, Tom. Look at everybody.
I know,
Dolly.
they're all in here. And we'd love
hello.
Right? And we'd love to see your book. You have it right there in the front and center. Maybe you can just thumb through the book and show us some of these pictures. Budget-friendly, plant-based diet, y'all. So did you catch that she's in an RV, a 5th wheel? I like to call it a moho, but I was corrected because that's the motorhomes exist on all their own wheels. But look at these pictures. Can you bring them close up? I really want to see these because come on, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Now, you are traveling around. Look at her setup. Don't you feel like you're on land at some, I don't know, but you are on land. It's not like you're floating around or driving right now, but tell us about this. This is the coolest thing that you and your husband are up to. Take it away.
Yes, absolutely. So my husband and I actually travel full time in a 5th wheel RV. We sold our house in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 3 years ago, and we've actually been traveling the United States since then. So we've gone everywhere from Florida all the way up to Montana. And you'll hear I'm using an induction cooktop, and it gets a little feisty over here with the pan. So I apologize for that squealing noise, but that's what it is. But we have a fully set up kitchen. We have the refrigerator. We have a microwave convection oven down here hidden. You can't see it, but we actually have a propane oven and then a full propane stove. But I always use the induction cooktop when I'm cooking for all of you so that you can see what I'm doing, because that is more fun. So if you've got questions about RV life, feel free to drop them in the chat. Yes, it is some RV, so we picked this one for the kitchen specifically because I love sharing my recipes while I'm traveling. And we actually wrote all 3 of my cookbooks, ending with this budget-friendly one, from the RV. Yes, it all happened right here in this little kitchen, and it's amazing. Yes. So I'd love to know your questions. I see Dominique wants a tour. Right now you can see this. I'm pretty stationary with the camera that I'm filming with, But I can definitely link some tour pictures or some other places that you can find our tours of the RV as we're going. So in this pan right now, we have half a cup of diced carrots, about 4 tablespoons of vegetable broth, half a cup of celery, 1 medium onion. I'm also going to add in 4 nice sized garlic cloves that I'm going to mince. So a lot of people will ask what are some of my favorite kitchen gadgets, and I just love this garlic press. All I have to do is throw garlic cloves, just want to keep jumping out. Just throw the garlic in there and press it right into the pan. I love it. It's fantastic. You do not have to cut and try and mince with a knife. And just squeeze
Now,
the garlic.
you're also pretty much an expert in front of the camera because you do cooking shows for people. Is that right? And where can they find you?
I do. I do host cooking shows and other late live training sessions on my YouTube channel, but also in my VegInspired Foodies Facebook group. So I do a weekly live show there where I share recipe videos, lifestyle tips. So I've been vegan for 8 years and following a more whole food, plant-based way of living for the last 2. And it's really helped me energize my life and just take control back of my health. So when people ask me, wait, you don't eat like veggie burgers or anything? I eat all the same things that I ate when I was vegan. I just eat them more whole food, plant-based. So I had to showcase one of these, fancy soups that was, full of flavor and really, leveled up with, deliciousness for all of you. So what we're going to do is with these garlic cloves, we're just going to continue to cook them a little bit until they are fragrant. So again, we're not using oil. We're using a couple tablespoons of vegetable broth at each time that you add something new to the pan or to prevent any burning. I like to let my veggies soften a little bit.
Yes. We are calling it a 5-step plant-based vegan pasta. How do you say it? Pasta I Fagioli?
Pasta fazool.
Okay, great. All right. Now listen, I am so fascinated. What are some of the cool things that you two have been up to on the road? I mean, how cool. And yeah, so let's just start with that because I'm intrigued and I think others are as well.
Awesome. Let's get everything else in the pan and then we can explore all the fun things that we've done because it will take a few minutes for this to cook and I want to make sure that I honor all of your time. So what we're going to do now that I can smell the garlic, sometimes I wish I had smell-o-vision. I'm going to add the rest of the vegetable broth. Remember, I made a 1/2 cup of vegetable broth for this using that vegetable bouillon base. I'm also going to add a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. And then I'm going to add 1 can of white beans. I like these. I'm using navy beans, but I also like Great Northern. And the juice from the beans. So no draining and rinsing. Just put it all in.
And yes, we wish we had smell-o-vision as well. We're working on that. Somebody is. Yeah.
So amazing. I'm going to add a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. Now, a lot of people will say, no, I don't know if I love nutritional yeast. I just haven't gotten the flavor. But honestly, for me, what I use it for is not the cheesy flavor. I use it more to pull out a buttery flavor, like almost adding to that veggie broth. Next, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil. I like a little more, so I'm not going to be too wimpy on that. And 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano. I am a wimp when it comes to spice, but my husband would love it if I put in a 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, but I'm just going to do a little pinch. They are optional if you don't love red pepper flakes or hot, spicy stuff. We're going to turn this all the way up to high and bring all of this to a boil so that we can add that pasta to really round out the pasta fazool. So what I love about pasta fazool is it's really, really budget friendly and It is, all it is, it basically means pasta with beans. Pasta e beans, pasta fagioli. So we're going to bring this to a nice boil over high heat, and then we'll add our pasta. So Paige, coming back to your question, when we started 3 years ago, we really just had the goal to visit all of the states in the United States. But what we found along the way is that the national parks are amazing. And so we've now set it as a goal to visit all of the U.S. national parks. So we're up to 26 U.S. states, and we are up to 19 of the 62 national park units. And I'm so excited because we went to Glacier National Park in Montana this summer, and it was incredible.
Wow, and double wow. I love it. So what is your goal? Is your goal to, like you said, to go to all of them across the nation?
Yes, we really want to visit all of the U.S. national parks because they're all so unique. So we went to the Dry Tortugas off of the coast of Key West. It's about 70 miles west of Key West, and that is such a unique place because it's a old fort. You can scuba dive and snorkel, and the water is crystal blue. But then we traveled all the way to Montana to Glacier National Park, and you're talking about huge elevations, big mountains, glaciers. It's just incredible to be able to see the difference in the scenery of the United States while we're traveling. And that's one of the beautiful things about living this lifestyle is that we really can immerse ourselves in each of the locations for a little while. And I always tell people, like, here I am coming to you right now from the middle of Georgia. But if we had talked 3 months ago, I would have been coming to you from Tucson or Utah. So it's just really incredible to be able to bring this inspiration of eating more plants from wherever I go on the road.
I love it. And you're really showing how you can eat plants on the road. You can travel and make your own as you go. Now, are you also going to some of these vegan inspirations, these restaurants and things like that as well?
Yeah. So when we first set out, and this is like how the evolution of whole food plant-based happened for us. When we first set out, we were all about every vegan restaurant in every single town. And there were some weeks that we would eat vegan food at a different restaurant every day or every couple of days. And I'm like, there's two things that this is not good for. It wasn't good for my waistline, and it wasn't good for my wallet, right? I love supporting the vegan companies and the vegan restaurants out there, and even the restaurants that have vegan options, intentional vegan options on the menu, because it really shows that we're voting with our dollars. And so we love being able to go to all these restaurants, but now, because we've adopted more of this whole food plant-based way of eating, we really are selective on the places that we go so that we can support the restaurants in the different towns and vote with our dollars, but also so that we can, keep our waistlines under wrap, under control, and eat more of these whole food meals at home. So it's really fun to be able to travel.
I really love it. And that really shows the sustainability of how we can do this from our home and inspire others who maybe don't have access to some of these restaurants and things like that. Tom Vincil is inviting you to come to Chicago and come to one of the diners there.
Chicago diner. Yes, we went. So before we hit the road, we went to the Chicago diner. It's one of our favorites.
Oh my gosh. You can get inspired by all that Kathy has to offer. I went over there and looked at your map. I was like, she's checking things off the map, where she goes. So, okay, wait, before you put those in, can you tell us what's in the pot? Because we have new people joining every moment.
Yes, absolutely. So far in the pot, we have half a cup of carrots, half a cup of celery, and about a cup of onion that we've diced. And we went ahead and let that sweat a little bit in some veggie broth. We added in 4 garlic cloves. So give me a heck yeah to garlic in the chat. We added in some nutritional yeast, a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, a 15-ounce can of white beans. We used navy beans, and we included their juices, so no draining and rinsing. We added in some nutritional yeast, some dried basil, some dried oregano, some crushed red pepper flakes, and now we brought it to a boil over high heat. We're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of small pasta. Now we're using whole grain pasta. Now, what we use whole grain pasta, but you can use any pasta that you can find. We prefer the whole grain, and we can't always find that in the smaller sizes. This is a really perfect soup for, and we're going to put it over medium heat, and we're going to go for about 12 minutes.
Okay, now
timer just so I don't get distracted.
I need to ask you, because you're such a natural. Are you from an Italian family? Do you have where did you learn and get inspired to cook?
Oh gosh. Well, interestingly enough, my husband actually started us on this cooking adventure. He started reading all of the, cookbooks and really started learning all of the techniques. And from watching him and cooking with him in the kitchen, I've really become accustomed to when you need to stir things and what terms and what techniques need to be used. And so it's a lot of self-talk, a lot of self-conversation. And yes, I see some heck yes to the garlic in the chat. I love it. But one of the other things is I did take some of the Ruby cooking class, not an ambassador or endorser. I really enjoyed it. One of the big things it taught me was knife skills. And I always tell my new plant-based eaters or new plant-based people, learn how to use your chef's knife. Like really get comfortable with how you hold it, how you cut with it, because you are prepping some more vegetables. You are, using more of the knife and all of that. And we really want to make sure that you keep all your digits intact. So I always tell people, learn the knife skills because it's so important to, dexterity.
Okay, so your book is about budget-friendly plant-based diet cookbook. So I want to ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind. What would be your top 3 budget-friendly tips for people who are on the journey? They popping in here, they're wondering what to do and how to get started. And boy, they're, obviously everyone's concerned about budget. So what are your thoughts? Take it away.
Absolutely. My biggest tip for budget friendly is to carve out some time to prep the foods. I always tell everybody, the more someone else touches food for you, the more processing, which means the more money. So I used canned beans, but if budget's a concern, you might opt for making your own beans. A can of beans is about 1.5 cups of cooked beans that you cook at home, which is about 1/4 of a pound.
Ah, I see.
So that's one tip. Another tip is to buy in bulk, but only if you're going to use it. So I hear people say, oh no, buy in bulk. And then you've got all these bulk items in your pantry and you're not using them. Or you buy all these vegetables in bulk and they go to waste or they spoil in the bottom of the refrigerator. And you think to yourself, I wasted money. And so for me, buying in bulk is intentional. I need more. I need to buy, extra tomatoes because I'm doing something special. I'll buy them in bulk. Right now it's apple season. Do you have an idea for all of those apples? I know you can get, bushels of apples and, big bags of apples for really an inexpensive price per pound, but do you have a plan for those? And then my third tip, which is always a surprise to everyone, is get the store card. So we travel full time. We are rarely at the same grocery store, more than once or twice in a visit to an area, but we always ask for the card. We always ask for the savings card. Not only does that save us in groceries, but a lot of times it saves us in fuel perks as well. We had one, I was doing a show on budget friendly, and we had just gone grocery shopping, and we saved $40 in the grocery store on food, but we also saved $10 at the pump on our fuel to fuel the vehicle that tows our house around. So there's always ways to save, and I really encourage people to look for those because if you're not saving your money, you are spending it somewhere else. So whether you're on a budget for your own, because you don't make enough, or if you're on a budget because you want to live below your means, or you're on a budget so that you can save for later, it really isn't a determining factor of, where you necessarily are. It's more about what you're doing with that money. Where else can you put that money if you're not spending it on fuel and groceries?
Amazing. Okay, Tom has a very functional question. How long do you need to soak the beans to get them soft enough to, go into your soup? What are your thoughts on that?
So we actually cook our beans in the Instant Pot and we don't soak them. One of the tips that I have is to use a pinch of dulse or kelp granules. What that does when you cook your beans, so what we do is we'll rinse, we'll pick over and rinse our beans, put them in usually a half a pound to about 3.5 cups of water, and then a pinch of the kelp granules. And that's for the stovetop version. You can just cook those right on the stovetop, just like I'm cooking the soup, for about 2.5 to 3 hours. Just check them. It really is dependent on the bean. I can give you some more details specifically. There's some recipes in one of the 3 cookbooks for cooked beans. But adding that kelp granule, what it does is it breaks down the exterior hardened part of the bean and allows the interior of the bean to get nice and soft and creamy while it's cooking. So it speeds up that process. So we actually don't soak our beans at all. We didn't soak them when we used the slow cooker. We don't soak them for stovetop, and we don't soak them for Instant Pot. We just put everything in and let it go. So I can drop the Instant Pot recipe into the chat or into the reply chat of this after I pull it off the computer, because I don't have it memorized.
That's okay, but we're so impressed by all these tips. And Dominique says, heck yeah, Instapot, love it. And of course, we loving the garlic in here. Dominique wanted to say she used to not love nooch, but then she had a revelation and loves nooch. So what other things do you put nutritional yeast in? Kathy, take it away.
Absolutely. So I love to add it to all of my soups. Now, this is a pretty Italian soup. It likely would have had Parmesan or something in it originally. I add it to all my soups, whether they had cheese in it or not, usually about a tablespoon, to really pull in that butteriness that I felt like chicken broth had. But since I don't use chicken broth, I use veggie broth. It just gives that broth a little bit more of a deeper, buttery flavor. I also love it sprinkled on popcorn. I love it served over pasta. I love to make a nut or seed Parmesan. You can also use just a pinch in desserts that you want to get that buttery flavor. So I found that not only does it have that cheesiness, but when smaller amounts, it really has like a nice buttery flavor. So I just love nutritional yeast, and I love the non-fortified ones that are just clean nutritional yeast. Doesn't have a lot of strange things in it. I try to keep a lot of my ingredients pretty clean. So I don't think we've told any of the new folks what's in the pot in a while.
Yeah,
so
please,
after we put the pasta in, we brought it back to a boil. We reduced the heat to low. So it's just bubbling in there because tomatoes tend to scorch. So you want to make sure you do reduce that heat. So in the pan, we started with carrots. We softened those in a little veggie broth. Then we added celery and onions, softened those, added 4 garlic cloves. Love it. I love garlic. I know I got some heck yes to garlic in the chat. We softened those. We added 1 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. We added 1 15-ounce can of navy beans, or any white bean will do. We added some nutritional yeast, some dried basil, some dried oregano, a pinch of red pepper flakes, and then after that came to a boil, we added 2 cups of whole grain pasta. Mini shells, ditalini, something small really works well. We had to use rotini because we couldn't find that whole grain pasta. And then we bring it back to a boil, reduce the heat to low, and cook it for about 12 to 15 minutes. Now you can see it's really, really steaming. I think you can see. It's really, really steaming. So we want to make sure that we keep that steam in there, really give it a stir every now and then so the tomatoes don't scorch to the bottom. And we'll give it a taste in a little bit, but I'd love to know what other questions you have. Oh, Tom, that is so nice. I'd be happy to come back and share some more recipes.
I love it because we can literally take the show on the road now that we have this fabulous StreamYard. Okay, so I have another question. So what are some of your favorite meals to make there in your fifth wheel? Take it away.
Absolutely. One of our absolute favorite meals is a burrito style bowl. We make the brown rice in the Instant Pot. We'll cook up some black beans. Either We go super simple and we just open the can and drain and rinse them. Or we'll add some spices, maybe some chipotle and adobo, maybe some garlic, simmer them over in a pan for, enough time for the flavors to kind of immerse themselves in. And then we'll add those to the rice, chop up some avocados, some salsa, maybe some fresh tomatoes, some corn, and really make a burrito bowl. That's one of our favorite meals. I also love the traditional camping meals. I always do air quotes because traditional camping meals are usually like meat over a fire, right? But we like to do things like tacos or fajitas on our outside griddle. We'll do carrot dogs. We'll do veggie burgers that we can heat up outside. We used to do a lot of entertaining at the campsite, so we would go into town. We'd meet up with friends. People would come camp with us, and we would do pasta salads and potato salads. We really like those easy meals that can be made ahead and then brought out for entertainment. I'm trying to think of some other things. It's the season now where soups are very popular for me. I love just this one pot. You're seeing lots of dirty dishes that I've, filled with different things to measure. But typically this would just be a one pot meal where I would dump everything in, I would simmer it away, and then it'd be ready. And I would just have the pot it cooked in, a spoon or spatula, and then the bowls that we eat out of. So it really is nice to have those simple and easy meals.
Okay, I have a quick question for you. So when it comes to, I'm really dialing into the functionality of your fifth wheel lifestyle. It's just really inspiring to me. Reducing, selling the home, the whole thing going on the road. So do you bring your own firewood? Do you have your own cookout? Do you go to places like, is it KOA? Like how do you plan all this out? While we're waiting for the simmering of the pot, y'all, don't you find this fascinating? Take it away.
Absolutely. So the logistics can be a bit tricky. I always joke that, we're snowbirds now. So we head south for the winter, and we really have to make sure those campgrounds are booked early. We are self-contained in that we can carry our own water. We have our own, waste tanks, all of that. But we do not have solar, a generator, or batteries that can sustain us without electric. So we have always stayed in campgrounds like KOAs, privately owned campgrounds as well. Ooh, I think we're almost done. Let me just check the pasta. But we actually don't bring our own firewood because we travel so much. It would be essentially moving the firewood between the states, and that's actually not allowed. Due to there's insects that get in the wood, and then you transport them to different states, and then it's like the wood transports insects. So we actually just buy the wood at the campgrounds that we go to.
I gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, this is really the burning question we all want to know. Do they make electric engine RVs or hybrids?
So I'm not sure about the electric engine RVs. I do know that they make vehicles that are electric engine, and then they make lightweight RVs that you can tow with an electric vehicle. Now, I do know some people I follow on Instagram and some people that stayed in some campgrounds, they actually have a Tesla that you can actually plug into a 50 amp RV site, and the Tesla actually can fold into have a bed in it. So some people travel in their car, and this is our house. So we have a full size RV and a full size vehicle that we tow it with. But some of the lighter vehicles could be definitely done on a more, I don't know that it's, it could be done on a more electric based.
Sure. Well, your footprint, it has been reduced significantly by way of what you are up to and the encouragement that you're bringing people to the plant-based lifestyle, which is, we have studies are showing that animal agriculture is one of the leading causes of our climate crisis. So bringing about these recipes to people in an easy, friendly way, the budget friendly as well. How's it looking? How's it tasting? I know you had a little taste there. Let's see. How long does this usually take to cook? So the rest of us can kind of prep ahead. Take it away.
So this usually takes about 30, 35 minutes to cook completely. It really does depend on that pasta at the end. So my pasta is a little al dente. I prefer it cooked a little bit more. So I put it back on since we weren't done. But what I'd love to do is scoop it into one of these clear bowls so that you can see what it looks like. And then I can answer any additional questions that you
Amazing.
all may have.
Now, could we go ahead and cook the pasta previous to this? What are your thoughts on that? And put it in cooked? Because sometimes I have extra, pasta around or rice around just to add to a soup. What are your thoughts on that?
I think if you had some extra pasta cooked, what you could actually do is use the soup almost as more of like a gravy, because you wouldn't want the cooked pasta to overcook, because cooked pasta can kind of get mushy if it's overcooked. So you might be able to warm it up or throw it in at the very end, just heat it through real quick, and then eat it the rest of the way, because you obviously wouldn't want it to overcook. So you wouldn't want to add it to like where it's going to boil for very long. So
amazing.
Go.
All right. Now you are going to find Kathy A. Davis, her VegInspired website, and also her Instagram. Everybody going to head over there, get inspired, learn how to cook on a grill, an outdoor grill as well. And look at this beautiful soup, everybody. Now we're also going to have this special recipe available on janeunchained.com with thousands of others. Kathy, what fun this was. Oh my gosh, this is a first ever inside of a fifth wheel. So excited. And how's it taste?
It's very hot, and I burned my tongue on the last taste test I did live. So I'm like fear. I have a little fear that I'll be like a fire burning dragon. So it's very hot, but I love that it has the beans in it, and then those veggies that we cooked up, the carrot, the celery, and the onions. I can smell the garlic. You will also notice I did not put salt in it. So my philosophy on salt aligns pretty much with Dr. McDougall's. If salt's going to make you eat it, go ahead and add some salt after the fact. So I would, might add a little salt now. I just choose not to cook with it. A lot of times we get so caught up in how much salt something has that we almost don't even know we can do it without. So
I also wanted to, Betty Ann Cornwell was wondering where she could grab a copy of your book. Where do people order them?
Wonderful. So all of the cookbooks can be found. There's links on my website, VegInspired.com, but you can also snag them off Amazon. If you are not an Amazon orderer, just grab the ISBN number, and any local bookstore can order them.
There you go, everybody. You heard it here, right here on Lunch Break Live. We are so excited that you came along with us for this quote unquote ride. And we will see you all next time, always here, 12:30 to 1 o'clock Pacific time on a daily. Soup season is on. A one pot is even better. And how fast and delicious. Oh my gosh, yes, Betty Ann. We will definitely ask Kathy A. Davis if she would like to come back. I love it. Wait, one more thing. Tom wants everybody to know to get the California Reuben at the Chicago Diner.
That's my favorite there too, the Reuben. Oh, so good. So good. Thank you all so much. It was such a pleasure to be here.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.